Remember, we did a determinant as in prices of related good. And there I told you that there are two type of related goods. One is the substitute and the other is the complementary goods. Okay, now for that I have already drawn a diagram and explained everything to you, but quickly here I am making it once again for your recapitulation. Now here I draw the x-axis, the y-axis, the origin. Now in case of substitute goods, they are the ones which are used in place of each other. Like here we take the example of tea and coffee, and there can be many more. So suppose I take here price of tea on y-axis and quantity demanded of coffee on the x-axis. So since you all know that in case of substitute goods, there is always a direct relationship. Okay, so the curve is direct relationship. So the curve is always going to be a positively sloping line moving in the upward direction. Let's name this curve as AB for substitute goods. Now, how to check the relationship? Let's take any 2 points out here, one as K and other as L. Now, see how it is happening. At point K, the price is of tea is OP and the quantity demanded of coffee is OQ. As the price rises from OP to OP1, tea price rises. So tea becomes costly. Now what the people are going to do? They're going to switch over to coffee. So automatically the demand for coffee is going to rise. So this is how the curve for substitute appears. Now let's move on to the curve for complementary goods. Now here I draw the x-axis, the y-axis, and in case of complementary, like I have earlier told you, these are the goods which are used in place of each other. They're used together. Substitutes are the goods which are used in place of each other. And in case of complementary, these are the goods which are used together, like the case of car and petrol. So here we get an inverse relationship for complementary goods. Let's prove how. So if I take here the price of car on the y-axis and quantity demanded for petrol on the x-axis. Now let's draw a curve which is negatively sloping, which shows the inverse relationship between price of car and demand of petrol. So here let's name it as CD, and let's take up any 2 points, let's say GH out here, and let's check the inverse relationship. Let's say the price of car is OP. So at that price, the quantity demanded is OQ. Now the price of car falls from OP to OP1. So once the price of car will fall, the quantity demanded of car is going to increase. So once the quantity demanded of cars is going to increase, obviously there will be more demand of petrol. So see what is happening? The quantity demanded of petrol has increased. So what happened here? Price of car has fallen and quantity demanded for petrol has increased. So this shows the inverse relationship between complements. So this is what I had explained you when we did the determinant prices of related goods. So using this video, what you can do is you can draw along with me and you can understand that it is not these rectangles that you draw and then you join these points and make a diagram. This is how you have to go about it, because economics curves are proper application based curves which requires logical understanding. It is not the class of fine arts that you have to make it beautiful. Okay, you have to make it understandable and according to the logics. Now the third diagram that we did was on derivation of market demand curve through individual demand curve. Now, to make it simple, let's just assume there are two consumers in the market. The name of one consumer is Yash. Okay, Yash? So Yash, and I'm showing here the individual demand curve of Yash for the commodity oranges. Okay, though we have done all this, but I'm simply trying to make it easy for you. So I take here the prices of oranges and the quantity demanded by Yash. Okay, so let's say, and there is another consumer in the market, let's say Yasmin. Fine, Yasmin. So I'm showing individual demand curve for oranges for this consumer, that is Yasmin. Price and quantity demanded. This in rupees, this in kgs. Here again, this in rupees, this is kgs. So now I take here when the price is 10, 8 and 6. Same price, 10, 8 and 6. Yash demanded 1 kg. In case of 8, 3 kg. And when the price fell down to 6, he demanded 5 kgs of oranges. On the other hand, Yasmin demanded 2 kgs of oranges when the price was 10. When it came down to 8, 6 kgs. And when it came down to 6, 8 kgs. Okay. So finally, if we have to find out the total market demand, so since there are only two consumers in the market, so it is going to be Yash demand and Yasmin's. So that would be the sum total of all the demand. So if we take here, prices are going to be the same. In rupees, same 10, 8 and 6. And at the same prices, we'll check out the quantity demanded in kgs. So if you check out here, the market demand now is going to be Yash demanded 1 kg at 10 and Yasmin demanded 2 kg at 10. So it is going to be 3 kg. Yash demanded 3 kg at 8. Yasmin demanded 6 kg at 8. So it is going to be 9. Now Yash demanded 5 kg at 6 and Yasmin demanded 8 kg at 6. So it is going to be 13 kg when the price was 6. So this gives you the derivation through a schedule. Now if you have to derive the market demand curve through individual demand curve, okay, so once you're going to plot it, though I'm not plotting it because of lack of time, I'm just drawing the curves directly. So once you're going to plot it, first you're going to draw the individual demand curve for Yash, the first consumer. Then you're going to draw the individual demand curve for the second consumer, which is Yasmin. Origin and the y-axis. And when you're going to add these two, you are going to get the market demand curve by both the consumers, Yash and Yasmin. Okay, so this is how we go about it. So here we take the price and quantity. Again, the price and the quantity. Again, the price and the quantity. Once you're going to draw, again, you're going to get a negatively sloping demand curve like this. You have to plot it if you're drawing using a schedule. Okay. Now this is the individual demand curve for Yasmin, D1, D1. This is by Yash, DD. And once we add it and plot it, you are going to get another demand curve, D2, D2, which is the horizontal summation of the individual demand curve of Yash and individual demand curve of Yasmin. And you get the market demand curve D2, D2 of Yash and Yasmin, the two consumers in the market. So there can be many consumers in the market, and this analysis is applicable to all the consumers present in the market. So this was derivation of market demand curve through individual demand curve.